Hello and welcome to Odds Now. Well, it's finally here, isn't it? The first day of the PDC World Championship 2025. A day that darts fans like me wait for all year long, and we've got a feast of arrows to enjoy over the coming weeks. My name is Matt Hill, and I'm going to be providing you daily betting briefings here on the Odds Now YouTube channel to run through the games that we have to look forward to each day and pick out my best bets. So if you love darts and you love betting on sport, this is the place for you. If you haven't already done so, please do consider hitting subscribe. We'd love to have you along for the rest of the tournament. And also, we have a lot of big sporting events coming up over the next few weeks, boxing, football, plenty going on here on the channel. And we'd love to have you stick around for that. Now, let's dive straight into it then. 4 games on Sunday evening. Of course, only 3 of those currently priced up in the betting markets because Luke Humphries will take on the winner of the first match in the last game of the evening. So there's no bet there, unfortunately. But 3 matches, and I do have 3 bets for you. So please do let me know what you think of these bets in the comments. We'll dive straight in with the first game, which is Thibault Tricole versus Joe Comito. And I really do fancy the chances of Tricole here, the Frenchman, a tour card holder, of course. He's had a pretty good year, all things considered. And maybe the highlight of that year was actually last month at Minehead when he beat Gerwin Price 6-4. And I think that is just a sort of indicator of the progression that Tricole has been making on the big stage. We've seen plenty of him win his tour card in January, of course, and he's a dangerous player who can perform against the very best of them. Meanwhile, his opponent, Joe Comito, we've seen very little of him. What we have seen on the World Series hasn't been all that inspiring, to be honest. 3 performances on there in the last 3 years, yet to average over 75. He's taken just 1 leg from a possible 18. Now, that is a tough school for these Australian qualifiers playing against the very best of the best. And of course, there's less of a gap between Comito and Tricole than there would be against someone like Luke Humphries or Luke Littler. However, I think his seasonal average is in the mid 80s, and clearly playing on the big stage has not brought better out of Comito from what we've seen. It's actually he may have felt the pressure and the expectation a little bit and struggled to hit his usual standards. So all things considered, I really do think that Tricole is in a good position to take advantage of that. I've been a little bit surprised to see a little bit of money come for Comito. I can only presume that is speculative because all the stats and figures make me think that Tricole can take care of him here quite comfortably. The 3-0 is all the way out at 7-4 with Ladbrokes. I actually think that's the best bet of the night. So yeah, that's the way I'll be playing this opening game. Tricole to do a job on the Australian qualifier and win 3-0. Of course, there will be some nerves in there for the Frenchman as well. So it wouldn't be an all too surprising if it ended up 3-1. But I would have that 3-0 a lot closer to sort of 6-5 even money. So I was a bit surprised to see it all the way out at 7-4. Next game then sees Stefan Bellmont taking on Jermaine Wattimena, and the Dutchman, unsurprisingly, a red-hot favourite for this one at 1-4 or 1.25, depending on whether you do fractions or decimals. He's had a great year, hasn't he, Wattimena? He's had a long career, but you could argue that this is the best of his career, and I think he would probably agree with that. He made the European Championship final in October. That was the culmination of a really encouraging set of performances across the Pro Tour and Euro Tour. He made 3 Euro Tour quarterfinals this year from 7 appearances, which sort of shows you the consistency the machine gun has been displaying. Meanwhile, he's followed that up, hasn't he? At the Grand Slam of darts, he reached the quarterfinals where he exited to Luke Littler. He was hammered in that quarterfinal, but up until that point, he played really, really well. And I think maybe just the occasion of playing Littler and Littler playing so well overrode him a little bit. He's a deserved favourite here, but I actually really do quite rate his opponent, Stefan Bellmont. Not currently a tour card holder, but what we've seen of him this year, he's been a strong performer on the Challenge Tour, which is the secondary tour but below the PDC Pro Tour, and that has resulted in him getting a lot of call-ups to the Players' Championship events. He's played in 24 of the 30 Players' Championship events, and he's not just made up the numbers either. He's actually made a couple of quarterfinals, taken some great scalps along the way, and generally is an impressive player who I think is improving. Now, this is a bad draw for both of them, to be honest. Wattimena could have had a lot kinder first round draw. Belmont, I think if he drew a lot of other players, would have had a real chance of winning. I do give him a bit of a chance of winning this, despite the odds reflecting strongly in Wattimena's favour. But instead of playing him to win it, I think I'm just going to get on him with some performance-based metrics. Now, Bet365 have introduced a new darts bet builder feature for this year's World Championship, which I'm looking forward to sort of testing the waters with. And this is going to be my first attempt with it. I want to get on with Belmont, not necessarily to win the match, but just to outperform his odds. So to win a single set or plus 2.5 sets on the handicap and to hit over 2.5 180s, which is coming in at 23 to 20. And that appeals to me at odds against, because I think Belmont, as I say, if he plays to his usual standards, he's more than capable of nicking a set or two. And if he does, we're going to have a longer game, which gives him ample chance to hit over 180s. He's quite a proficient 180 hitter, sort of averages one every 4 or 5 legs. So if we could get this game into the realms of 4 sets, 5 sets, I would expect to see Belmont covering that line. And I think at 23 to 20, that's well worth a little go. In the third game of the night, then, Kim Huybrechts takes on Keane Barry, and this game is the tightest priced of the night in terms of odds. There's money coming for Keane Barry, who was the outsider, remains the outsider at 11 to 10, maybe 6 to 5 best price. Huybrechts drifting a little bit, but I make him a worthy favourite here, and it's mainly down to their Ali Pali records, because there's not a lot to split them on the seasonal averages. But Huybrechts, it went out in the second round last year to Richard Veenstra, but prior to that, he'd done 5 years in a row of making at least the third or fourth round. Keane Barry has never been to the third round at the World Championship in 5 attempts, and he's actually suffered some really tough nights here, most memorably losing to Grant Sampson, the South African qualifier, a couple of years ago with an average in the 70s. That was a real stinker of a night for him. Now, he bounced back last year to win against an Asian qualifier in his first round game before being humbled 3-0 by Michael van Gerwen. Keane Barry is a player who I think he's shown a little bit of sneaky form on the floor actually in recent months, but generally he's just stalled, hasn't he? His career has just stalled a little bit after he burst through onto the scene, coming through the junior ranks. Some impressive results in his debut season. He's still ranked 50 in the world coming into this World Championship, but he had been up in the 40s, and this is the first time in his career, his very young career, he's only still 22, of course, but it's the first time in his career where he's kind of hit a little bit of resistance. Now, he's got plenty of time to sort things out, but I think on this stage, against someone of Huybrechts' experience, I want to be with the Belgian here. Adding the fact that Kim had done next to nothing this year until the last Euro Tour event of the season, when he got in as a first reserve and actually made the final. And that was a reminder of just the quality that he does possess. And he's so experienced on this stage, as I say. So I think he will get the better of Keane Barry here. The drift makes the handicap particularly appealing. Huybrechts minus 1.5 sets, i.e. to win 3-0 or 3-1, is a very juicy 13 to 8. And that's a play for me in game 3. Now, as I mentioned, game 4, the winner of Tricole and Comito will take on reigning world champ Luke Humphries in the last game of the night. There's no bet in this one for me. However, I do have to say, I expect Humphries to take care of whoever wins. I'm expecting Tricole to come through. I think Humphries will beat him 3-0 or 3-1. It's not a game that I will be getting involved in even after the draw is confirmed and the markets appear, I don't think, because I expect Humphries, if he does play Tricole, to be in there at 1 to 10, 1 to 12. He's going to be very short on the handicaps. But the most I'm really seeing from Tricole is maybe nicking a set, but equally I could see him getting beat 3-0. So I'm not going to get involved in this game. I'm expecting Humphries to book his place in after Christmas. And anyone who's watched the outright preview that we did will know that Humphries is my pick to win the tournament. Still available at around 7 to 2 on the Betfair exchange. And I think that is a more than fair price if you're looking to hang your hat on somebody who can genuinely go all the way and win this championship. I think he has a strong chance of retaining his title. So just to summarise then, my best bets on night 1 of the PDC World Championship, 2 points on Thibault Tricole to beat Joe Comito 3-0 at 7 to 4. That is my best bet of the night. Stefan Bellmont plus 2.5 sets and over 2.5 180s in a little bet builder on Bet365 at 23 to 20 at time of speaking. And Kim Huybrechts, I think his experience will prove too much for Keane Barry. Minus 1.5 sets for Kim, i.e. to win 3-0 or 3-1, is 13 to 8 with Bet365. Well, let me know what you're backing on night one of the PDC World Championship. And I'd love to hear your best bets and thoughts for the tournament outright. Let me know who you're backing. If you've got a little round one accumulator that you fancy and any sort of quarter bets or quirky specials bets, let us know in the comments. I'll be back tomorrow to preview Monday's action. I hope you enjoyed this quick run through, and be sure to visit oddsnow.com for all the latest darts betting tips.